Hey friends, I hope that you are doing well. I have been painting watercolour hearts and they have been really soothing my soul recently during emotional turbulence. So I just wanted to guide you through a really simple watercolour meditation for these hearts. They don't have anything to do with Valentine's Day, but if you are an observer of the day, maybe you can paint some hearts for yourself or a friend, anyone really. Making sure that you've got everything that you need: watercolour paper, pot of water, a round brush. I've got a size 4, so not too big, but also not too small. And your desired watercolour paints. I've got a mix of liquid paint and tube paint and just different colours, and you can experiment with whatever colours you feel drawn to today. And let's take a couple of moments to arrive. So settling into your seat, making sure that you feel comfortable, and really taking a moment to acknowledge that you have chosen to do a little bit of art, connect with yourself, your creativity. And watercolours are so soothing. This really relaxed practice doesn't require too much of you. So if you are feeling exhausted, if you're having a difficult time, this can be a really gentle way to connect back with yourself and just bring a little light and joy into your life. No expectation of the outcome, or as best you can. I know that can be quite tricky, but this is about playing and experimenting. And you can choose to do hearts, but if that feels like too much effort today, so trying to get the shape, you can create circles. Let's take a few deep breaths. In through the nose, send it down to your belly button. And let it out through your mouth. See if you can lengthen out the exhale and start to allow parts of your body to soften a little bit. So maybe noticing if there's any gripping or tension, trying not to judge where that might be today, but just acknowledging if there are any parts of you that feel tense, tight, resistant even. Breathing in through the nose, send it down to your belly button, and gently let the breath out. Relax the shoulders. Settle into your seat. Maybe feel your sit bones, your pelvis resting in the chair. Maybe your back is connected to the chair. Maybe you can feel your feet on the earth. So just seeing if you can sense into some stability. Maybe you've even got your hands resting on the table like I have. And let's get started. So wetting your brush, this is going to be a bit of a wet on wet technique. So we want our brush to be wet first. And I'm going to start with a yellow. So you can either spritz your watercolors if they need activating, so if they're dry, or you can go around and wet, keep rinsing your brush off in between and just make sure that they're all wet and ready for you. And start to breathe in and out through your nose if that feels available today. You can find a really steady, conscious breath, or you can just breathe in a really natural way. So you don't need to focus too much on the breath, but just making sure that you're not holding the breath. I'm going to get some yellow paint on my brush, nice and watery. I'm going to start, you can start anywhere on the page, anywhere you feel called to. I'm going to start in this corner and I'm going to map out my heart shape. And just checking that I am breathing, filling it in, allowing my pelvis to really settle into the seat. So noticing if you are starting to grip or tense as you make contact with the paper, and just reminding yourself to see if you can settle into the flow. And I'm going to go for a red. So you can go for colours that work well together, or you can choose any colours that you're drawn to, and remembering that this is an experiment. And drawing the next, or painting the next heart so that it slightly touches the first one. And you can see that there's a lot of water here. So if I were to just fill that in, you can see that my brush really easily flows over the paper, and if I were to tip that up, it would merge into the first one. So it's finding that balance of water, the ratio of it, so that there's not too much, so that it doesn't completely merge and make a mess. But also making sure that it's not dry and scratchy on the paper. The beauty of watercolour is the flow that it creates, and almost like it's a moment of letting go of control. So you might be doing hearts. You might want to do some circles. You could do a mixture, you could do squares. This is an amazing practice because, well, you can do anything with it really, any shapes. Checking back in with the breath. And sometimes there might be frustrations that pop up. So I've noticed, sometimes there are frustrations when my heart shapes don't go as I want, but I know it's not the end of the world. You can always go over them again. They don't need to be perfect though. So as you can see, this green has started to merge into the red, And some colours don't mix well together. So if you do want to avoid any murky colours, if this happens, grab a tissue and you can just lightly dab that away. And then I can go back in, fill in those bits. You could even leave a few white in the middle. Actually, I'm gonna bring a little purple in. That would go quite nice. Oh, that's a lot. Got some nice pinks in here actually. I really love this colour palette. So some of them might dry, and then that can be a really nice opportunity to go over them in another colour so that it doesn't merge together and it still creates this really lovely effect. So allowing yourself time to fill the page. Notice maybe if you are speeding up and if you feel the call to slow down, then see how it would feel to really slow your movements down, and you can connect with the breath here. So we can place our brush on the paper and take a breath in and a breath out to complete the shape. So this one has really gone for it. So I will leave you now to just explore on your own. And keep remembering to check back in with yourself. Can you feel your feet on the floor? Do you feel like you're tensing in your shoulders? And maybe with an exhale, you allow your shoulders to soften. And it's entirely up to you how much you fill the page, whether you have gaps, whether you have random singular shapes or hearts. You can allow yourself some time now to settle in. Just see what happens. I invite you to scan through your body and perhaps notice if there are any subtle shifts, changes, perhaps noticing what is here for you now, what is alive in you. Nothing needs to have happened. Just bringing in a little curiosity as we come to the end. And how was that for you? Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. Sending you lots of love. Take care.